Recently, this channel hit 15,000 subscribers, which is just, it's a crazy number. It's not one that I thought we would get to. I'm blown away. I'm thankful. I'm humbled. And more than anything, I'm at a loss, right? I'm at a loss for what to do because, you know, on the one hand, you have to believe that you can make it, and I did. But on the other hand, to see it myself with my own eyes, man, I don't know. It's hard to put it into words. So obviously, before doing anything else, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The moment when I realized that this had happened, it was so crazy. It actually was captured live on my Twitch channel, which, shameless plug, you can go follow Twitch TV. It's DOS_food. Go check it out if you're interested. But here's that moment. Really, I think it was wholesome. I had a good time. Yeah, the What Your Killer Says About You, I think it's my most viewed one of all time by a pretty considerable margin. Let me check. This is Jimmy Buffett, by the way. Oh! 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 Hold up. Hold your horses. Wait. Wait, wait, wait. Wait, wait, wait. Wait, wait, wait. Ooh, hey. Hey. That's awesome, guys. Thank you so much. I knew I was in the ballpark of it. Oh, that's so good. Thank you. Wow. That blows me away. Thank you. Wow. And I love that it's the stupid lunchtime video that got us there. I love that that's the one where it's like, yes. But when I was thinking about what it was that I wanted to do to kind of give back here, something to celebrate it, I realized that I'm out here and I talk about the clown and I talk about Jeff and I talk about Dead by Daylight and I talk about this, that. Okay, bah. I don't talk about myself very much. I want you to feel like you know me. Like you know the human behind this whole persona, behind this whole DOS food thing. So I thought, hey, what about a Q&A? And that's exactly what we did. So we ended up with somewhere around like 45 or so questions, and that's a decent amount, and I'm going to answer all of them. Now, one quick thing I do want to point out is there are a few that are kind of, sort of repeat questions, but what we're going to do, at least for the time being, what I'm planning on doing, because I did read through it, is I'm just going to give different answers as much as I can. So, for example, there are a few of them in here where it's like, oh, what IP would you like to see come to the game? I'm just going to give you different answers, and we're going to see how that goes. Now, with all that out of the way, we do have quite a few questions to get to, so let's do it. We're going to start with I Love Macaroons 5229. And by the way, I do too. They're delicious. The question here from this person with Pepe the Frog as their profile picture is, congrats, thank you. And my question is, have you ever been to Ukraine? If yes, what's your opinion on it? And if no, do you wish to visit it? Of course, after the war is over. Right off the bat, the answer is no. I have not been to Ukraine, but of course, I would love to see it. Travel is something I'm very much into. I really, really enjoy travel. So for me, it would be very exciting to get that opportunity to go see Ukraine. I did live in Budapest for 4 months, and Budapest is right there. You know, I mean, we're talking about two countries that do border each other, and apparently, for most people that go to Budapest and do what I was doing, which was teaching, they do like to go over to Kyiv, but obviously, because of the time when I went, I was not able to do that. But yeah, obviously, you know, no grand political statements from me, but I would love to see Ukraine, and like everybody else, I really hope that this just horrible bloodshed comes to an end sooner than later, right? After that, we had SpookyChap6081, who said, congrats, DOS. My question is, if you could add any character from any IP, killer or survivor, into DBD, who would you pick? And I almost said, and why, but that's not in. I was filling in some gaps here. Okay, so who would I pick? That's a good question. I've mentioned this in a video before, and some people liked the idea, some people didn't. But for me personally, I would go with the Nazgul from Lord of the Rings. I am a huge Tolkien nerd, and I think that having the Nazgul as the killer, you know, the Black Riders, maybe have a Witch King skin, a Sauron skin, stuff like that. You know, even possibly like an Uruk-hai skin or something like that. that'd be the coolest thing. And then you could come up with this homebrewed original character, probably, because realistically, I don't know if I'd feel great about like killing Aragorn or Frodo or something, but yeah, I'd love to see a Lord of the Rings chapter with a Middle-earth based map and a Nazgul killer. But obviously there are tons and tons of intellectual properties I would love to see come to the game. Hey, it's Chris says, congrats Das, I love your content, and as a fellow wrestling fan myself, I have to ask, who is your favorite wrestler of all time, and what do you think about the Bloodline storyline? So, I'm actually going to answer this one in reverse order. Let me start with the Bloodline storyline and say that I am a huge fan. I think it's just been such a runaway success, and it has elevated so many people. Everybody that comes into contact with this storyline has been better off after interacting with it. It was huge for guys like KO and Sammy. It was big for guys like John Cena to get to anchor part of their legacy as having been a part of this. And then obviously, I think it pushed the Usos over that line and made them possibly the greatest tag team of all time. For Solo Sikoa, you can't debut in a better way. And in the case of Paul Heyman, man, I mean, his legacy just continues to grow. This guy, when all is said and done, Paul Heyman's going to be remembered as one of the top 10 most important men in the history of wrestling. And then obviously, I've been doing all this and I'm dancing around the fact that Roman Reigns has finally established himself after all these years as the guy. This has been awesome to watch. His ring work has been stellar. The storytelling has been even better. And Roman has really stepped it up as an actor as well. The fact that he was able to force a tear here on a recent SmackDown and look totally natural doing it was incredible. Overall, yeah, I really, really like the Bloodline storyline. Now, who is my favorite wrestler? It's important to note the time that I grew up watching wrestling would be what they call the Ruthless Aggression era. I watched that. I watched the PG era, and now I'm in the modern era. So that's what I've watched. So it'd be really disingenuous to say Hulk Hogan or Bret Hart or Stone Cold Steve Austin, because these are just not guys I grew up watching, right? I know of them. I'm familiar with their work. I appreciate what they've done for the business, but I'm not necessarily a fan in that traditional sense of like, I never got to watch them do their thing, you know, as it was happening, outside of a couple of like return, you know, surprises and all that stuff, like the Michaels versus Hogan at SummerSlam, which was fantastic. So being a Ruthless Aggression guy, those are naturally going to be my favorite performers. That era was huge for me. So, and keep in mind, I grew up watching without any knowledge about things like the internet wrestling community. I didn't know everybody hated Triple H. I was a kid, so I loved him because he won a lot. I loved Batista. I loved Rey Mysterio. But if I had to say my favorite, it's so tough to pick between two. It's so tough. Edge comes to mind. I am a huge Edge head. But over the years, I've actually probably settled into Randy Orton being my favorite of all time. I think he is just stellar. I think he's so damn good at what he does that people underappreciate him. So Randy Orton, fantastic. Probably my favorite of all time, but you know, depends on the day. There's so many guys I'd love to mention here, but you know, I don't want to keep going with this. Maybe at some point I'll just do a full-on wrestling video, do like a top 25 favorite of all time. But yeah, I love Randy Orton, and at least right now, he'd be my pick. But, you know, who knows? Maybe you ask me on a different day. Maybe it's Edge. Maybe it's Undertaker. Tough to tell. Marciano Prince 3217 says, congrats, dude. My question is, if bending powers from Avatar The Last Airbender were real, which element would you pick to bend and why? Now, great question. Fantastic question. Avatar was just insanely good. An incredible show. And as much as this sounds like a politician answer, there is no correct answer here, or there is no wrong answer here, I should say. They're all valid, right? They're all cool. But for me, I am a based earthbender. I think that I would bend Earth and I would acknowledge the war in Ba Sing Se, and that would be my approach to that. But yeah, what a great show, right? Azula 4 DVD, right? Let's get her in here. Past the Nirvana said, congrats. My question is, what are your credit card numbers? Oh, okay. Make sure you're writing this down. Get a pen, get some paper. You good? All right. 111 111 1111. And it is a Discover card. Let's scroll up some to get some, I guess we'll start scrolling up as we go here. So, Sin Alex095 says, congrats, Das. My question is, if you can bring any piece of media into DVD, what would it be? So I already said the thing about the Nazgul, so I'm going to twist this one and give a different answer and say that I'm a huge fan of the Predator franchise. Well, most of the Predator franchise. The 2018 one was yeah, it was just atrocious, wasn't it? But I like most of the franchise, and I would love to see the Yautja added to the game. Having a Predator at all would be incredible. You have the plasma blaster, you have the wrist blades, you have the clicking noises, you've got that mask and the face under the mask, both of which are iconic, which is actually really impressive. You got the dreadlocks, or at least what we call dreadlocks, because that's kind of the closest thing we have to that. There's so much to like about the Predator's look, about how it operates, and then you factor in some of the survivors we could get. Dutch Schaefer, what would it be? Royce and Isabel, the lady, the main character from Prey. I would be very excited about this. This would be, to me, a chapter on par in terms of excitement as like Resident Evil. I would love to have this. This would be really cool. So Predator would be one I'd be very excited about. Gamescape7758 says, congrats, I won't ask for your credit card info. Thank you. I'll settle for your social security number. Oh, geez. It's all ones. Everything I have is all ones. Do you believe in paranormal stuff or cryptids? So, I want to believe. I really want to believe that skinwalkers are out there, that Bigfoot or Big Feet are out there. I want to believe in Nessie, right? I want to believe in all of these things, and the Wendigos and all that. Do I necessarily believe in them? Not necessarily, no. I do not believe in cryptids per se, only that it's possible. I would say I try to be open-minded. I don't like to say, well, I've been told that these things don't exist, and therefore they don't exist. Or, well, I've never seen this with my own eyes, and therefore it doesn't exist, because that's placing a lot of trust in the people above us. That's placing a lot of trust there, not to sound too conspiratorial, right? And it's placing a lot of almost an arrogant level of confidence in our own eyes, in our own perception. Things can absolutely be out there that we've never heard about, that we've been told aren't true, and that we haven't seen. It's always possible. Like, I'm a big believer in aliens. Aliens, 100% I believe in. Yes, aliens are out there. I treat that as a matter of fact. But it's not a fact, it's an opinion. I get that. But it's also a fact. As far as paranormal, I am interesting in that regard, which is such an arrogant thing to say. I am interesting. No, I believe in demons. I believe in the devil. I think he's out there. But I don't believe in exorcisms and things like that. What I believe is that there are malignant forces that want to encourage us to be bad people. I do believe that. But I don't think that they possess us and make us vomit up blood and all that, and that every disease we get is the result of a demon or something. I think I'm more of what you might call a cessationist, that I think at one point in time, the world was a crazier place, but in the modern day, that stuff's just probably not happening. So realistically, is your house haunted? No, it probably just creaks because it's old. But again, I try to be open-minded. Prove me wrong, right? All right. Let's see. This is Evan Soltani. Hope I got that right. Please don't kill me if I got it wrong. Congrats. What's something big you want in DVD that isn't chapter related? Also, what are the numbers on your credit card? Well, we covered the credit card, so we're not going to do that one again. But as far as what I would like to see in DVD that isn't chapter related, this one's an awesome question. And I thought about this beforehand. I thought about it because I wanted to have a good answer for you. So I came up with something that I've never really heard people talk about, but it's something that I would be very interested in. Have you ever played the Halo Master Chief Collection, where you can go in and you can toggle between the old, superior graphics or the new, hyper-realistic, but ultimately drab 343 graphics? I would like something like that for DVD, where not that it would change anything about the loops or anything like that, but where I could push a button or change something in the menu and, we would get the old version of the game, or we would get the old version of the corn maps, and visually exclusively, not gameplay wise, right? Just visually, but I would love to see something like that. I think that'd be really fun. Let's see. Blue Jay, how'd you come up with your channel name? And congrats, of course, been quite a ride. It has been a ride, and I appreciate you for being a part of it. I appreciate everybody who's been a part of it. When it comes to my channel name, I get asked this more than anything else, even more than like what my main is. especially on my Twitch, which again, dots_food, check it out. You don't have to, but probably should. It's a good time. How did I come up with my channel name? So, my family, we're big on nicknames. We're a nickname family. Almost everybody in my family has some kind of a nickname. And I guess I won't get into all that too much because I don't want to like dox my family. But I will tell you, nobody calls my dad Dad. We call him Moose, and there's a whole story behind that too. But everybody, I'm talking even like aunts and uncles and my papa and my all of them. They which by the way is a southern expression for granddad. They all call him Moose, and we call him Moose. So we are a nickname based family. And mine growing up was the Food. They all would call me the Food. Now, my mom doesn't call me the Food, but just about everybody else does. And the reason for that is so boring, and you're going to wish you hadn't asked, because you're gonna be like, that is the lamest origin story of all time. What it is I was carrying a tray of food. My mom had asked me to move it from point A to point B. My older brother comes up and starts punching me playfully. We roughhoused all the time. Very, very roughhouse type family. And she says, hey, don't hit the food. And he said, oh, is that what we call him now? And it stuck. I mean, like that. From that point on, I was the Food. And it became a nickname that I really liked. I liked being the Food. I walk into a room, and to this day, brothers, cousins, all that, it's like, what's up, Food? My own dad calls me the Food. What's up, Food? So that's where that part of the name comes from. And when I was at Mississippi State University for college, I started taking German classes. And that same older brother, who probably a decade before had christened me the Food, he said, you're Das Food now, because, Das is a German article for the word the. And I just became Das Food. So to this point, it's still Das Food. And when I needed a channel name, I was like, well, that's personal to me. It's unique to me. Nobody else has anything like it. It does come with the downside of some people being disappointed because they come in, they're like, oh, look, it's a German. And then they hear me speaking. They're like, you're not German. So I'm sorry to anybody I've disappointed, or, if anybody thinks I've stolen German culture. I have nothing but love for the Germans. I think it's a fantastic country. So that's the Das Food story. I hope that was at least somewhat interesting. Cardamono. I hope I got that right. I'm going to say that a lot here. 86th, the 86th Cardamono. Congratulations. My question, why did you start playing DBD, and what killer would you like to see in the future of DBD? Sorry for the bad English. Hello from your biggest fan in Costa Rica. Well, firstly, let me adjust my chair. Okay, let's address this, right? Your English is fine. Your English is good. I always told my students this when I was teaching in Hungary. If I can understand what you're trying to tell me, the battle is already won. You have communicated effectively. So first off, please don't apologize. Your English is fine. Your English is so much better than my Spanish, even though right now I'm trying to work to learn Spanish. So hopefully in the future, I can, maybe actually rattle off some extended thoughts in Spanish. In terms of why did I start playing DBD? That's actually a really good question. I was always aware of DBD because I love horror. Horror has been huge for me. I love the genre, and I was aware of DBD. But I had this childish aversion to it, where I was playing Friday the 13th, the game, and I loved it. And I looked at DBD and I was like, that's the competition. That's the enemy. I'm not going to play the enemy. And then one day I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe we should check out the enemy. So what I did, and this is going to date the story even further because I was still a console gamer at the time, I went on Mixer on my Xbox and I watched this fella named Montori. He still streams on Twitch, I believe. His name was Montori. I think he's based out of Atlanta, Georgia or somewhere like that. And I watched him play. He was a survivor going up against the Huntress. And I was so taken aback by the aesthetic of the game, by the survivors, by the killer, this being the Huntress again. It was on one of the Macmillan Estate maps. I don't exactly remember which one. And I was like, man, this game looks really fun. So I started looking into it further and I was like, wait, this has Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and the pig had just come out and Leatherface is here. So I see all of that And I'm like, I've got to play this game. So I download it, and I buy the game, and I buy the Halloween DLC. I didn't buy any of the other DLC initially. And I was just pretty instantly just enraptured with this game. Really, really great. I don't think enraptured's a word. now that I think about it. What killer would you like to see in the future of DBD? It depends if we're talking licensed or unlicensed, but let's go with Alien. Such a boring pick. So far I've said Alien and Predator, but also the Now School, so that's, it's kind of outside the box. Yeah, I'd love to see Alien. It makes too much sense, right? Give us the Xenomorph, give us Nostromo Station as a map, and then give us Ellen or Amanda Ripley. Hope I answered all the questions well enough there. All right. Lautaro Milano 2920. Congratulations, my man. Here I am representing Argentina. Nice. We're getting some Latin American representation here. Love to see it. I have two questions for you. What new mechanic would you like to be introduced to DBD? And what do you think the next license is going to be about? If you say you don't know, what would you like it to be? Okay. That's a good question. What new mechanic would you like to have introduced to DBD? I would like there to be one that limits how frequently you see the same killer. In the same way they have that with maps, I would like it to be something you could switch on, where it's like, please don't give me 3 straight Weskers. Because Wesker can be fun, but dude, I'm really tired of facing Wesker. I would like a little more diversity in my games. As far as what I think the next chapter is going to be about, I think it's going to be Candyman. What would I like it to be? Any of them I've already mentioned, or like 1,000 others, because there's so many I'd be excited to see, but let's keep mixing it up and say American Psycho, give me Patrick Bateman as a paragraph. All right. Mad King Corbin. King Corbin. Is that a wrestling reference? Probably not, but Baron Corbin was King Corbin for a while, right? Take this as a question or a video idea. Both work. One killer is now your roommate, but you get to pick which one. Who's the best and who's the worst? They won't try to hurt you, but you do need to live with their habits. Okay, great question. Great question. Best case scenario here, probably the Wraith. The Wraith is a kind person. The Wraith would be... He'd be quiet. Would he be too quiet? I don't know. I'd be excited to see, though. I would like to see the Wraith. As far as who would be the worst, I lean towards saying Bubba. Because even in a world where he doesn't want to hurt me, the odds of him stopping his cannibalistic ways would just be very low. Same goes for Hag. Hag or Bubba, probably. Those would probably be my worst two. Again, if they're not trying to hurt you, though, if they don't want to kill you, maybe somebody like Ghostface, because he's so good at blending into society that he might just be a regular bro when he's not killing. So, I don't know. Hope that's a satisfactory answer. Joshua Way. Sorry, I almost said away. Joshua Way says, and by the way, Joshua, you've been a commenter for a long time, so I appreciate you. I recognize you. I've seen you around. I appreciate you. Joshua says, congrats, man. Huge milestone. Love that you've come so far. Thank you so much. Question, if you could make your own unique perk that was purely for fun and not meta purposes, what would it be? And Joshua, I have the answer for you, and everyone's going to hate it. Everyone's going to hate it, except the base few who say that's an awesome perk idea. Let's go with that. The answer I have, after the 5th and final generator is popped, one random survivor is given a gun. Yes, I'm dead serious about this. Just like in the Friday the 13th game with Tommy Jarvis. They can run. It's one shot. If you hit your teammate, it will kill them on the spot. If you hit the killer, it will stun them for something like 10 seconds, 5 seconds. I don't know. But yeah, people have joked for a long time about the perk gun. I'd love to see it. I would love to see this come to the game. Would it be goofy? Oh yeah. Absolutely. Would it be fun? About as fun as anything that's ever existed. So I'd be super into it. Yabadoo Gaming. Yabadoo. I almost get Yabadabadoo. I'm almost getting the Flintstones vibes here. But anyway, Yabadoo Gaming. If you could make an original killer into an IP, like turning the Wraith to Slenderman, who'd you pick and who'd you turn them into? This one, super easy. I despise the Skull Merchant. This is known. I have complained and whined about this enough. So, at risk of, I guess beating a dead horse, I would turn the Skull Merchant into the Predator. Not because I think she was originally meant to be the Predator. She was not. I don't see the evidence that she was supposed to be. But if that's being offered, yeah, let's go for it. Moving on, Utterwaffle says, congrats, Das. My question for you is, what killer's power do you think is most in need of a rework or hard tweaking? This one, there's several answers I could go with, but actually I'm pretty happy with where most of them are. I go with Nurse. I think that the Nurse is in a terrible place because I think she ruins the game. And I know that people contest this. I get that. But I don't think she's that hard to play. I don't think she's that hard to play at a decent level. So for me, I think she's the one that needs to change. However, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I think Sadako could actually use another look here because I don't think her most recent rework was actually a buff. I think it was probably a nerf. So yeah, I don't know. I would say Nurse is too strong and Sadako is too weak. Let's see. I'm going to get this one wrong and I do apologize. Naosu Shikan. Hope I'm close. I'm not too creative. I'm sure that's not true. So I'll give a basic congratulations followed up by a basic question. All right. What is your favorite game genre of all time? So this one's interesting because I do just kind of generally love gaming. I would say I play almost all gaming types except like platformers are not really my thing. And then maybe fighting games. Even though I say that, I love Smash Bros. I love the Mortal Kombat series. So maybe I play fighting games. So I don't know. It's tough to pick one in particular. I would probably say Western RPGs. Western RPGs are an absolute delight. I've put so much time into Skyrim, the Fallout series, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, things like that. So I really do enjoy that. Yeah, that's what I go with. Western RPGs would probably be my favorite game genre. All right, Rag3751. Massive congrats, Das. I've been a fan for a good while now. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You didn't even realize you were subscribed for so long. You've been down since day one-ish, and you didn't even know. Love to see it. Proud to say I am one of the 15,000. I love your humor and your videos. Genuine feeling you bring up. It's not even a question. It's just a super sweet comment. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for being a supporter. Thanks for being part of the Foodies. It's really awesome, and it makes this worth doing. This Mooney, who's got a very fun Sombra picture, just gave a smiley face. So Mooney, thank you. Thank you for the smiley face. I needed that today. Okay. Sonic F4B13 came in with 3 questions. Question 1. Which survivor and killer are you shipping together? So, I want to answer this. Firstly, with 2 survivors I'm shipping together because I haven't heard enough people talking about this. Gabriel probably is how you pronounce that. With Claudette. They would make a fantastic couple, and I'm not going to hear any other ship for either of them. It makes too much sense. I ship those 2 together. Killer and survivor. I'm going to go with one that maybe doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe it's one that you think this is stupid. Maybe I'm stupid. I think that with their love of extravagant things and their love of the press and all of that, I'm going to go with Yunjin Lee and Ghostface. Danny Johnson. I think it'd be good. I think possibly they would work until one of them kills the other. But maybe they would grow to love each other. That would be something I'd be really interested in seeing. And I think that one makes a certain amount of sense, right? Maybe not. I don't know. What is your favorite, question 2, what's your favorite game to play outside of DBD? You can say your favorite game of all time if you want. So my favorite game, if I'm not playing DBD, and I do try to mix it up some, but I have a guilty pleasure game that's not DBD, and that is Sid Meier's Civilization 6. I play it all the time. I prefer to play as Georgia, to play as Hungary. I like playing the defensive US style where you just try to take over your own continent. Germany's a fun one. South Korea is just a free win. I love it. It's my go-to guilty pleasure game. I love Civ 6 and I can't wait for Civ 7. In fact, I've considered doing a video about who I would like to see included in the game, but I probably won't get around to it because the last time I did a Civ video, it got like 12 views. But, you know, I mean, maybe. As far as my favorite game of all time, individually, it's probably Fallout New Vegas. But if I could do a series, the OG Mass Effect trilogy is my absolute favorite, and I will love it forever and ever. Question number 3, what are some activities you like doing when you're out touching grass? Can you imagine? Can you imagine me touching grass? Well, let's say hypothetically, I did like touching grass, which actually I do. Okay. I enjoy quite a few things, actually. Some of them you should definitely get into, and some of them you should not. So some of them that you should not, I am a big fan of bourbon and whiskey. I get together with of all people, you might think this one's kind of funny. I get together with friends from church and we do a whiskey night once a month, and it's just delightful. It's just delightful. So we try out each other's whiskeys, and we try all the different, you know, oh, this one's got hints of that and all that. So that's a fun thing. Cigars, another one you probably shouldn't get into, but I love a good stogie. And then on the flip side of that, I love fitness. You wouldn't know it from looking at me, I know. You wouldn't know, but I love going to the gym. I love lifting. I've even gotten to where I don't enjoy the treadmill or anything like that, but I love hiking. I love getting out and just being in nature. So I love all that. That's fantastic. I'm a vexillologist. I flubbed the word, so clearly that's a bad sign. But that's just a flag nerd. I love talking about flags, comparing flags, collecting them, all that. I would say those are my touching grass hobbies for the most part. I'm sure there are others. I try to be, you know, well-rounded as much as I can. So yeah, I hope that helps. Hope those are satisfactory. Evil penguin, evil. Every villain is Lemon's penguin. Got it. Congratulations, that's incredible. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Also, my question is, in your opinion, which Dead by Daylight survivor and killer do you think has the most interesting lore? Oh, okay. This one's interesting because there's so many I could go with. Only a few of them I think have bad lore, or a lack of lore. Most of them have pretty good lore. What I would go with, as far as the killers, I don't know what this says about me, but my favorite kind of story is a tragedy. I love tragedy. Macbeth is one of my favorite stories of all time. I think it's great. Tragedy's great. Tragedy is great. No, tragic tales are great. I wish no tragedy upon any real person, right? But tragic stories are great. And I think the Oni is actually a really well-told tragedy in its condensed form, because obviously Behavior can't write a full book about it, or at least they haven't. Hey, Behavior, one of my side hustles is writing. I write fiction, so you want somebody to write that book? Hit me up. I will flesh out the Kazan story. But I love this idea of this guy who he grew up being told, hey, life is this way. And all of a sudden, the winds of change start blowing. The current goes in a different direction. Japan is changing. It's changing to something more modern, and he hates it. He takes this hyper traditionalist approach where it's like, no, we stick to the old ways. We are samurai. And he's viewed negatively by his countrymen, and they start calling him Oni. Oni Yamaoka. And he hates it. He hates the nickname. And in his process of trying to shut the people up who have given him this nickname, to silence his detractors, he becomes the very thing he hated. He becomes the Oni, obviously leading to this ultimate physical transformation at the hands of the entity. He becomes, for the rest of time, the Oni. I love it. It's a great tragedy. It's really good. Obviously, there are other elements of the story that are also tragic, but I'm not going to do the whole recap there. It's even great down to the fact that he has this cycle of violence that goes on to affect, obviously, Rin, his distant family member, great-great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter, or whatever she is. It's fantastic. It's really well told. As far as the survivors go, I like a lot of theirs. I think that they did a really good job with quite a few of them. I really enjoy Gabriel's lore, a very recent one here. I love the idea of this clone that, you know, he's from a different world and all that. It's very fun. I think Gabriel has cool lore. I would also say Zarina has really cool lore. Zarina's probably my pick there. I think Zarina has great lore. I can't say there are many aspects of her story that I look at it and I'm like, oh, I empathize with that. But it's well told, and I sympathize with it, and I think it's a really good story. All right, Sharky. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because your name is Sharky and you have a shark. You have a shark profile picture, which just insanely based, insanely cool. Sharks are great, aren't they? Are sharks not just the coolest animals? Yeah, that's awesome. Great white, great pick. Congratulations, that's really impressive. Good job keeping at it. Thank you. My question, what is your favorite movie of all time? If you feel like answering two, what's your opinion on Spider-Verse? Okay, favorite movie of all time, individually, Batman The Dark Knight. I remember watching it in theaters back in 2008. I actually missed the opening bank robbery scene because, of all things, I was getting chicken nuggets from the theater. Sorry, I lost my voice there. I was getting chicken nuggets from the theater, and they weren't good, in case you're curious. They were not good. In regards to that being my favorite film individually, yes. There are a couple of others that mean a lot to me. Inglourious Bastards is a fantastic film. Mickey Rourke, the wrestler, was fantastic, but that's mostly just because I'm into wrestling. I would also say Lord of the Rings as a trilogy is my favorite trilogy. I love it. Love it. But I'm a huge cinema fan in general. And I didn't even touch on any horror films, right? Let me take a sip of my coffee here. I didn't even mention any horror films. I love horror films. So my go-to comfort film, as in I want to put something on, not really pay attention, but just maybe get caught up in it. The Conjuring 2. I love it. It's one of my favorite films of all time. It's strangely heartwarming. It's a great movie. As far as your part 2, what's my opinion on Spider-Verse? So here's my thing. I hate the multiverse. I think it ruins storytelling 9 times out of 10. But this one was good. This one was really good. I like their interpretation artistically of certain characters like Doc Ock and Kingpin. Really, really good stuff. Nick Cage was great. Really, it was, I'll tell you what, it was the first time Miles Morales stood on his own as a character and really said, here I am. I'm not just a new version of Spider-Man. I am Miles Morales. I am this character. He really stood out on his own and told his own story, and it was really fantastic. So I enjoyed Spider-Verse. I haven't seen the sequel. I'm sure it's great. I enjoyed the film, though. It was really good. All right. Leonardo Nessie 16 says, congrats, Food. I'm new here. Subscribed like 1 month ago. Hey, welcome in. All right, we need it. Look, we need the ones who have been with us for the long ride, and we need the ones, who are just now getting here, because that's, we've got goals, right? We got to take over the fog. We got to take over the entity. We have to make sure there are more clown players out here. Or is that not what everyone signed on for? Okay. Question. What is your thoughts on killers from different games? For example, League of Legends or Overwatch, or other scary characters or villains from games. Right. So, Overwatch to me is a hard no. I have played tons of Overwatch. So this is not me hating Overwatch. I just don't think Reaper and Sombra and Doomfist and all of them, I don't think they belong. And I know I've been called a gatekeeper before. I don't think that works. League, I'd be a little more inclined to say maybe. League has some awesome character designs. I've never played the game, but I would say maybe. As far as the part where you leave the door open at the end there, you say other scary characters or villains from games. Yes. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. I would love to get, off the top of my head, the Big Daddy from BioShock would be great. Who else would be a spooky character? Anybody from the Evil Within series would be great. I think of, what is his name? What is his name in Outlast? The one with the one with the big scissor weapons, the doctor. He looks at you and says, buddy! I can't remember his name. I keep wanting to say Kramer. Maybe that's it, or maybe I've just been watching too much Seinfeld. I can't really remember his name at the moment. But yeah, those types of characters, absolutely I'd love to see it. Even borderline characters who maybe aren't so spooky, yes, bring them in. So yeah, to summarize, Overwatch, no. League, maybe. Other games, definitely. Misanthropes. Deserved. Hey, thanks. I hope to stay for many more milestones. Love your commentary and having your long ass videos help me combat boredom in countless nights. So thank you for being around. Hey, look, that's what I'm here for. It's the long ass videos. This one is already over 40 minutes long, so hopefully this one can combat some further boredom. As for the question, what is your favorite metal band? Okay, so this one is one I catch flack for, right? Because I do like the classics. I do. And I love the classics even. Like, Metallica? Are you kidding me? The song Fuel alone is enough reason to love Metallica. But then they've got this whole ass catalog of awesome music. I love Metallica. Here, let me adjust my chair. I feel like it's creaking a lot. I'm gonna lean forward, so hopefully it's not so creaky for the rest of the video. Okay. Metallica's great. Megadeth. Not only is Megadeth great, lately I've been obsessed with them. I've been listening to a ton of Megadeth. I love the classics. But you gotta keep in mind when I grew up as well, right? Naturally, I'm gonna listen to some of the bands that are pumping out new and innovative music as I'm growing up. So this is my really roundabout way of saying I like a lot of metal bands kind of from my era, which I was born in 96 for those curious. So Slipknot has been a constant in my life. Avenged Sevenfold is probably my favorite. I think Avenged Sevenfold is my favorite. I love Avenged Sevenfold. So many of their songs have they've just been huge for me. And I don't want to get into it because I think that I never want it to be a thing where it's like, oh, he's trying to farm sympathy with anything mental health related or whatever. But like so many people, of course I've had my struggles with mental health, some severe struggles. And I'll always be thankful for Avenged Sevenfold because at the lowest moment of my life, which was after my best friend passed away at the age of 22 of all things. Sorry, it's you know, I listened to the Nightmare album so much because it just felt like it was an album that really understood what I was feeling. Songs like So Far Away. You know, I don't know. I owe Avenged Sevenfold in ways that they don't know I exist. They'll never know I exist, but they've helped me, and I appreciate that. So Avenged Sevenfold has such sentimental value that they go straight to the top of the list. But obviously, so many great metal artists out there. Ice Nine Kills has been my most consistent listen these past probably like 4 years or so. I've been obsessed with everything they've done since Every Trick in the Book, and I think they're just getting better and better. So love them as well. By the way, nu metal is also cool. I know some people hate nu metal, they despise it. Korn is great. If you consider Linkin Park to be nu metal, I love Linkin Park, especially OG Linkin Park. I didn't really dig some of their more recent albums. I love Hollywood Undead. A lot of people hate them. They're one of my favorite groups of all time. And they're another one who, man, thick and thin, they've been there for me. And I appreciate that. Just kind of the right music at the right time sometimes. I don't know. Symphonic metal is one I really like. It started, you know, as a kid, I loved stuff like Evanescence, and then I grew up into just really loving things like Nightwish. Power metal is great. Powerwolf, I think is their name, right? They're like We Drink Your Blood and all that. They're fantastic. Dragon Force. Most people know them for Through the Fire and the Flames, but they've actually got quite a few bangers. So that I'm gonna cut it off there. I love metal. Metal's great. So many incredible acts I didn't even mention here. So Avenged Sevenfold is my favorite though. All right, behavior. Oh, sorry. This is Lars Armstrong, who has a Moira picture. Hey, look at that. We're back to Overwatch. Behavior lets you make 3 changes to clown. What are they and why? Also, congrats. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ooh, 3 changes to clown. I'm going to give you credit. This is the toughest question. This is the toughest one. So I'm going to take a long sip from my coffee. Delicious. It's a Colombian blend. That's not flexing. You can go to your local Walmart and get Colombian blend. I'm just buying time. 3 changes to clown. Okay, maybe make it, and you got to be careful because the clown is so close to being oppressive. He's a lot better than people give him credit for. So I would say I'll give you 2 serious ones and then one goofy one. Let's give it to where the antidote, the yellow bottle, takes maybe a third less, like 33% less time to activate. Let's give him an extra bottle base kit. And then make it to where when you like booping the snoot, make it where if you do that to his belly, it shoots confetti or makes a fun sound like a squeaky noise or something. Those would be my answers. I think the clown's actually in a pretty good spot right now, but that's just my take. Austin Green 9071 says, which killer would you be most afraid to encounter IRL? So obviously all of them. I'm not a tough guy, right? I'm not here to pull the Andrew Tate routine and tell you that I am a top G. I would beat all of them. No, I mean, obviously not. I'd get destroyed. But my answer would be Ghostface. Because while it's technically possible that I beat him in a one-on-one, technically, I don't know that I would register him as a threat. He's undercover. He's incognito. You see the Oni, you know what's up. Clear the area. You see Trapper. Oh no, we're not where we want to be right now. But you see Ghostface? I don't know. He's sneaky. He's probably the greatest threat. Him or Trickster. The ones you don't know are going to kill you, right? There's a line in a Shaman's Harvest song, and I don't know if they're quoting something. They say, you never hear the shot that takes you down. And I think there's some truth to that. So that's Ghostface. He is the shot that takes you down, which you never hear. Georgia Lopez says, you deserved this a long time ago. Well, thank you. This is very sweet. Chill, observant, and always valuing the beauty of DBD. That's what we're here for. Appreciation station. This is not a negative channel. The day I start being like a DBD drama channel, let me know. Call me out on it. Say, Food, this is not you. This is not what we're here for. Because that's not what we're here for. All right. But I digress. All right. 5 questions. Of all the licenses in DBD, I added a word. All of the licenses in DBD have stemmed from movies, TV shows, and video games primarily, and now celebrities too, which, yeah, right? Bizarre, the celebrities thing, but this is the world we live in. So, what about books? What would be your pick and why? I would go with H.P. Lovecraft, Call of Cthulhu. I would go with a downsized, like a downscaled version of Cthulhu. I have mentioned this, I believe, in a video, but an insanity mechanic where the longer you look at him, the harder your game gets for you. I would love that. I think it'd be a really cool idea, and I'd love to see them implement that. But I'm also just a huge Cthulhu fan. At some point, I'll probably end up with a Cthulhu tattoo, because I'm also a huge tattoo fan, and I like to, I like to get what? I have a werewolf, I have a Wendigo, an Oni, stuff like that. So I like kind of spookier looks in general. So Cthulhu would be great. There are over 200 perks, and only a handful are common for both sides. You're not wrong. You look at the statistics. And I know this isn't the question. I know that I'm just like taking these prompts and running with them, and I'm sorry. But you look at the statistics, and yeah, people are using like 12 perks total. Overwhelmingly. Instead of radically nerfing whatever is popular, should the devs focus on buffing perks of the lowest usage rates? Yes. So, my general approach to balance is make everything overpowered so that nothing is overpowered. Make the game the party game it was always meant to be. You can't perfectly balance it, so just make everything a little crazy, a little krungo. Make it all to where it's so ridiculous that people are just like, to where people feel just a little silly complaining about it, because it's like, oh well, everything's kind of over the top. That'd be my pick. What is a dream map of mine? Haunted Mansion, Island, Nuclear Power Plant. Well, first off, all cool ideas. I'll kind of parrot your first one there, a Haunted Mansion, and say the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. But if they can't do that where we get, maybe it's a realm, and maybe it's in the Ormond realm, and we have one that's in the actual hotel, one that's in the maze, whatever, that could possibly be problematic. Not problematic in a moral sense, just in a game design sense. A Haunted Mansion would be the coolest. I can't believe we don't have that yet. Yeah, a mansion would be really, really cool. Would Scooby-Doo work better as a chapter or a costume collection like the AOT skins? HBO's Velma was a failed attempt at making it more adult, and the same could potentially happen in DVD since they would need to age up the characters. Now, a lot to get into there. So, the initial... firstly, actually, let me address the Velma thing first. I don't think HBO's Velma failed. because it was an attempt at making it more adult. I think it failed, yeah, and I'm sorry, because it hated its audience. It was look, here's my thing. I am always of the opinion, you make a TV show, you make a video game, you do any of that. Yeah, put messaging in there. Put politics in there. Do it. Yes, naturally. That's a very natural thing to do. But if it starts coming off as preachy or spiteful, people are going to turn away. And I think that's the mistake that show made. So I don't think Velma failed because it was aged up. I think it failed because Mindy Kaling and company thought they were smarter than everybody else, and that doesn't translate well, right? That would be my take on it. What I've seen from the show, it also was just tragically unfunny. So I don't know. I didn't actually watch the show, so I'm not going to offer too much. Just the marketing alone had this kind of holier than thou vibe to it, and I was not a fan of it. So as far as a chapter, I think a chapter could work. I think skins could work. I would lean towards skins. I don't remember who I specifically made it in my video about this, Dead by Dubert, but I would, Freddy and Felix, that's a natural pairing. Dwight and Shaggy would make some sense. I think I did Claudette and Velma. And then, obviously, the one we need the most is Victor from the Twins as Scrappy-Doo. That'd be fantastic. What do you think about these potential solo survivor killer licenses? Laura/Lara Croft, I don't know how to pronounce it, I've heard it. I've been corrected both ways. So at this point, L. Croft. The Melanie Mac character. What about Croft joining DBD? All for it. I think that we're going to say Laura. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We're going to say Laura has been a huge part of video game history, and especially here lately, she's been a very survivalist type character. So making her a survivor makes a world of sense. Maniac Cop, very inspired choice, by the way. I'd be all for it. I don't know that it would sell very well, just keeping it a buck. But if they did it, I'd be excited that they were showing love to a lesser known. In fact, I'll go on to say all these. I like giving us Damien, giving us Mulder and Scully. Blair Witch, I don't know how you would do that necessarily, but nah, I'm kind of a hater. I'm not a Blair Witch fan, personally. Now, granted, it doesn't really matter how I feel. It matters how the community feels. But for me, because I am being asked how I would feel about it, I wouldn't personally want Blair Witch, but the rest, yeah, that's cool. Having X-Files, you mentioned like Mulder and Scully, that'd be cool. That'd be very, that's a cool idea that I've never heard anybody float before, so very good. All right. Desert Yoshi Plays. See, we could have had a thing going here if you had done Dessert Yoshi. I'm the food, you're the dessert. We were so close. We were this close to greatness. Anyway, I always enjoy chill and laid back channels, so congrats on reaching the milestone. I try to come up with some good questions. Nice. What is your fondest memory in DBD or on your channel? My fondest memory on my channel would probably have to be something from my Twitch channel, more so than my YouTube channel, because YouTube, it's so funny. I tend to remember the negative more than the positive, and I think that's human nature. And on YouTube, I have a few videos that, some of them, I never want to unlist a video, just so, I don't know. I try to stand by what I say, I guess is what I'm struggling to get to here. But I've unlisted some videos just because I thought their quality was so bad that I was like, I don't want this having my name on it. And then my first ever blow up video was the one, behavior doesn't like criticism or whatever. And the reaction to that one was mostly positive, but I'm embarrassed by that one because I thought that I thought the research that went into it was not good enough. I should have done better. And a lot of comments let me know that, which was fair. That was totally fair. I had the one about Skull Merchant where I said something kind of offhanded about, sorry that some of us have accents or something, and I know DBD Twitter did not like that one. I had some people argue in pretty bad faith about that one. Some people who were really nasty in the comments on that one. The negatives do kind of stick with me sometimes. But then there are the positives. I mean, just think about this. Think about all the kind comments I've already read today. The people who come in and they say, hey, man, this is a fun video. Here are my thoughts. those are the moments that mean the most to me. But in terms of what I've done on Twitch, I remember the relationships. I remember the certain people. I remember our very first games where we became friends. I remember the doctor game on what is now the Skull Merchants map. I don't remember its name, but it was obviously way before that. I met one of my good friends. There was a Blight game. I was playing as Blight. He had just come out, and I played against two people who would go on to become very good friends of mine. There was a game where, I could actually go on for quite a while. People I've met through playing this game, and those are my favorite moments, right? So as corny as it sounds, I think my fondest memories are just the ones I've made where I've made these genuine connections with people through this game, which is so crazy to me. That would be my answer there. What sort of content do I want to be able to create in the future? Mostly the same, but hopefully a little more diversity in it. Hopefully I can make the occasional non-DVD video, a horror movie review, a review of another game, or again, sometimes I want to talk about things like I've said, I'm a huge flag nerd. I'd love to be able to make a flag video and it crack 500 views. I don't think it would, but maybe, maybe. So just mostly the same with a little bit of added spice, right? What is the earliest game? This is Misher L, I hope, or Misher L. What is the earliest game you remember playing, and what got you into DVD and content creation for the game? Love your channel. Have a good one. Thank you. You have a good one as well. What, my chair's back to being creaky, I'm sorry. What is the earliest game I remember playing? I don't know if you mean DVD game, because my first game ever was as Michael, and it was on one of the corn maps. I do remember that. If you're talking about, what is the earliest game? Star Fox on the Nintendo 64. I played the Nintendo 64 a lot growing up, and yeah, I was a big fan of Star Fox. So I didn't even know the whole do a barrel roll. I didn't even know that was a meme for the longest time. And then I found out it was a meme, and I was delighted because I was like, other people appreciate the game. Whoa. That one, I remember, Pokemon Stadium, I think it was called. Yeah, a lot of N64 games were my earliest ones. That and some terrible Game Boy games, because I never played any of the cool things. I remember playing the Men in Black game, and it was just horrible, as I recall. I don't know. What got me into doing DVD? I feel like I kind of covered that one earlier in the video, but as far as content creation itself, it's just something that's always interested me. I did radio for a while, and I loved it. I did play-by-play radio for high school football. So I really enjoyed going out there and creating, right, and kind of performing. And that's what this is to me. It's performance. And it was just a thing where I had always wanted to be a writer, and I started realizing that, okay, maybe writing fiction's not something I'm going to break into. Maybe I'm not good enough. But I can write videos. I can script out these videos, and that kind of scratches the itch a little bit. So yeah, hope that answers the question. Melkor, the owner of one of the coolest names, because Melkor, for those who don't know, is a Silmarillion reference. Melkor has been very supportive, very kind. Melkor, good to hear from you. Congratulations. What made you start playing DVD? So yeah, again, it was just this natural progression. It was this drifting from Friday the 13th to Dead by Daylight. And to elaborate on it a little more, I mentioned I watched that streamer Montori, but then I went online and I went to YouTube and I started looking up some of the big creators at the time, some of them who no longer stream or do YouTube, to my knowledge. I think of people like Tide Time. Do y'all remember Tide Time? Tide Time was great. True Talent, still going today. He was one that I watched a lot of. Monto, Noob3, neither of them are going anymore, but hugely influential at the time. Otofu was one of the first ones that I really got into watching, so I watched all these people and I just wanted to be a part of this community. I had this curiosity. The game, I know we're supposed to say bad things about it, but the game was high quality enough to hook me. And then the community was actually in a really wholesome place at the time. Here's to another 15K, my friend. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop us. We are all in this together, High School Musical style. Lieutenant Moose, are you my dad? So happy for you, sir. My question, what is your favorite food? I'm going to give a basic answer and then I'm going to give a more thought out answer. Basic answer, steak. Give me a good steak. Medium is fine, and I am content with being open-minded enough to go medium rare or medium well, depending on who's cooking and how comfortable they are. But give me a good, usually medium rare steak. Love it. A little more specific, something a little more outside of the box, Georgian food. The Republic of Georgia, like Tbilisi, all that. They make these dumplings they call hinkali. Google them. Maybe you already know them. Maybe you're already part of the club. You know this. Hinkali is fantastic, and I wish people made it here in the States. In my state. In my town. But they do not. Specifically lamb hinkali, but it's all good. The Essential Gamer 9290. Good job, dude. Never been... Oh, well, thank you. Never been disappointed by my content. I hope I can keep that pace up. But it's okay. I mean, if at some point a video doesn't hit right, you know, I get it. But thank you. That's very sweet. My question is a simple one. What made you want to main Clown out of the whole roster? What pulled you into him compared to the rest? As a Clown main, I have my reasons, but I want to hear yours. Yes, okay. So, I can actually summarize this one really clearly. The phrase would be Stockholm Syndrome. Because on my Twitch channel, I used to have a redemption that was fairly accessible. So, like, everybody... Because, again, I would have, like, 4 viewers at a time. Right? It wasn't a situation where I had 1,000 viewers and you know, you got to be a little more selective. So if you got something like, I don't know, like 1,000 channel points, you could pick my killer. And chat decided it was really funny to just spam the Clown. And through playing Clown, and almost exclusively Clown, through being an unwilling Clown main, I developed a love for the Clown. And I really started to appreciate the little things about the character. And by the way, as funny as it sounds, it kind of helped me get over my fear of clowns, my coulrophobia, because I do find them deeply off-putting. Yeah, so it was kind of funny. Stockholm Syndrome made me love the Clown. It's what got my foot in the door, I guess. And then the actual quality design of the killer is what took me the rest of the way. All right, Brandon Price, 3235, says, Big W, thank you. My inquiry is, if you could add any original killer to the game, what would it be? Okay, so, for years, I said I wanted a knight and I wanted a pirate. We got the knight. It's time for the pirate. Yo ho, and a bottle of rum. Please give me a pirate killer. It's either Zalix or ZAlex38 says, how do you, a Christian man, fit horror into your life along with being a believer? I'm an ex-Christian and was always advised to stay away from horror. Okay, so firstly, thank you. This is actually a really thoughtful question. I love stuff like this when on the internet you can have people who, obviously you and I, you mentioned being an ex-Christian, so we disagree about the very fundamental, the biggest question there is. And yet here we are, conversing, loving, enjoying, right? So thank you, first off, just a very kind approach and all that. In terms of how I fit horror into my life, along with being a believer, you're right that there are a lot of... especially in the modern church, a lot of lax attitudes about things where it's like, oh, well, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but ha ha ha, you know, which certainly I've made my fair share of mistakes. But when it comes to horror in particular, I don't think there is anything inherently sinful about horror. And I don't want to, I guess, kind of bore people with theology, but I'm generally Calvinistic in my approach, very, very Presbyterian. And when I look into my own theological beliefs, I don't think that watching something scary is sinful. Now, if you watch certain types of horror, what I would call the more, I don't want to put a mean phrase to it, let's just call it the dirtier, raunchier horror. So like anything Rob Zombie's ever made, even though I love Rob and I appreciate his enthusiasm for the genre, and he seems like a cool guy. Anything Rob Zombie's ever made, or the My Bloody Valentine reboot from like 2009 or whatever. Stuff like that, I'm pretty likely to turn it off because it isn't something that I really want to be consuming. But something like the Conjuring films or the Insidious franchise, something like the, I don't know, I don't want to just start listing off every horror film ever, but like, even like the original Texas Chainsaw, is it messed up? Yeah, but to me, it's almost in the same way, like, okay, but technically, there are plenty of films that are messed up, but we don't consider them morally wrong, you know? And I'm, you know, I don't know. I just read through the book Unbroken about Louis Zamperini, where he ends up a Japanese POW, and I realize maybe the difference there is it's a true story, but a lot of messed up things happen there, and I was never like, oh man, I should not be reading this. because, you know, that was good to know. So I hope this answered the question to some extent. You need to be responsible. If you're going to profess faith, you need to be responsible about what you consume. But at the same time, I would say that there's this issue, and I'm going to move on. Because I know there are people here who are like, oh my gosh, food, please, enough about the religion. I get it. You know, you can comment on this and call me a Jesus freak or something. Like, I understand. I think there are a lot of people who confuse sound theological doctrine, and I'm not saying this is you, by the way, not at all implying anything. I'm just saying I see it a lot. They confuse sound theological doctrine with cultural norms, and especially like a Southern Baptist norm, where, you know, there's kind of this thing that you're taught. You're taught these things that are entirely not biblical, right? They're entirely not biblical, but they're taught as if they're right up there with the Bible. And by the way, this goes way back. The Pharisees were doing this too. That was one of the big issues in the New Testament, was the Pharisees had made up. They'd taken something like, 63 rules from the Old Testament and made it over 600. Really 12 core rules and made it. So, you know, I would just say be wary of anybody who tells you how to live your life on the basis of religion, and then you say, okay, well, where in the religion can you find this? And then they can't show you. You know, be wary of those people. Moonkill 6619 says, congrats on 15K. Love the wrestling references. Thank you. That was accidentally. Wow, I was turning into Chad Gable there. Shush, please. I love him. He's so good. If you could book next year's WrestleMania, what would the opening match and main event be for both nights and why? Okay, easy peasy opening night one. I tragically miss when when WrestleMania would open with a ladder match or a Money in the Bank match. Whether it is Money in the Bank or when it was like the Intercontinental, I miss that. Starting with a ladder match is a great way to get guys on the card. And yeah, for me personally, I don't know. I think we're losing something by not having that. And then night one's main event, I would want to be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns part 2. Let's finish the story for real this time. I'm actually happy Roman won at this past WrestleMania, but I think they need to run it back for this upcoming WrestleMania and have Cody be the one to break the streak. As far as night 2, I'm going to start it off with one that is very much like never gonna happen, foods in La La Land, yada yada. Okay. Give me AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels. Shawn has already broken his retirement pledge, and if there's one thing I learned from that Saudi Arabia match, it's that he's the only one out of those 4 who could still go. You put him in there with AJ Styles, no, it's not as good as it would have been in the mid to late 2000s, in the 2010s. It's not as good, but it would still be damn good, right? It would be so great, and it would actually give Shawn the chance to go out with a banger of a match. As far as the main event, I think we would need to, generally I always say just close it with whatever's the hottest story at the time. But this far out, man. What if we got like a triple threat? And we're purely into speculation at this point. A triple threat main event for the women's championship, or even like a fatal 4-way, but make it hardcore. Let the ladies get out there and show, you know, I think there's still this perception in WWE that the ladies aren't going to do a hardcore match. It's like, let them. Believe me, let them. Asuka would have to be a part of it. She's done some brutal stuff in the past. She'd kill it. I think Rhea would be great for this. I'd say possibly bring in some outside talent. You know, I know Jordynne Grace just left Impact. She would be a big pickup if you could get, I don't know the future for certain AEW wrestlers. So I don't know. I would say a triple threat or fatal 4-way for the women's championship in a hardcore like street fight type match would be an awesome way to end the show. I hope those weren't too bad, you know. Will you do another Myers build? Ask Alex Skellington. Maybe. I don't consider myself the type that's super gifted with the whole coming up with matches. Not matches, I'm still on the wrestling thing. With the whole like unique builds and all that. I think there are people who are so much smarter and so much better with all of that. I would consider it. If I come up with one and I'm like, man, that's big brained, let's talk about it. Or, oh man, that's funny, let's talk about it. I would happily do that. But will I probably do that? No, because I'm not that smart. I don't know. I'm just not that smart. Bonnie the Bunny. Do you think Springtrap should be added as a killer? Yes, I do. This comes back to the thing that I have always said. And I'm very consistent on this, if I may toot my own horn. Give the community what they want. Give the community what they want. I am not personally a big fan of the FNAF franchise. I only played the first one. It wasn't really for me. Okay. But there are a ton of people who this would mean the world to them. So I say give them what they want. I think it'd be great. Not one I would necessarily be hyped for myself, but I think it'd be really good for the game. All right, Revived Beast 184. Congrats. Oh, nice. My content got you back into DBD. Welcome back into the fold. Love to see it. Thank you. That's actually a huge compliment, so thank you. So, I believe empathy is an S tier perk. What are your thoughts on that? I will forever die on this hill. Empathy was always good, right? It was always good. 128 meters is a long distance, and that's the distance you get to see your injured teammates. It's so helpful in knowing where the killer is. And it's actually become even better now that so many survivors, myself included, are just getting comfortable playing injured. Don't heal against Legion. Can't heal against Plague. Is it worth it to heal against either of the Resident Evil killers, I mean? No, because they're gonna tunnel you. People are staying injured, especially now with Made for This, right? Made for This, resilience. I look at all this and I say, yes, empathy's in a really good place. Do I put it S tier? No, I do not. But do I put it A tier? Yeah, I would say comfortably so. I think it's an A tier perk. Really, really good. Let's see. Congrats, I love your videos so much. This is Bushan Lokande. Please tell me I was at least close. I'm so sorry. I'm stupid, right? I'm sorry. I love your videos so much. Try to watch them as soon as they come out. Thank you. Thank you. What led you to start making DVD content? So kind of like I mentioned earlier, I just really like entertaining. I really like applying a narrative to things. And you'll notice so many of my videos do have, especially early on, so many of them had kind of this narrative to it. And I was trying to take new approaches to making DVD content. Not to make it sound bigger than it was, or is, but I wanted to put my own unique touch on it. And I think I've done that. I would like to believe I have. Ordinary guy, do you acknowledge your tribal chief? Acknowledge me. Yes, I acknowledge Roman Reigns, my tribal chief. I will be the Paul Heyman to the tribal chief. All right, Cylon, congrats on 15K. What's your favorite Pokemon? Ice cream flavor and color. I like a lot of Pokemon. There are a lot of really cool ones. Favorite is Snorlax. Always has been. Well, not always. As a kid, Cyndaquil was my favorite, but then I grew up to be Snorlax. Ice cream flavor, coffee, with a runner-up being Rocky Road, and then color. I feel like a dragon, but I'm gonna say Smaug. Smaug the dragon. I meant to say I feel like the dragon Smaug. Man, I flubbed that one. Damn. I feel like the dragon Smaug, but I'm going to say gold, because you know, he lives on this bed of gold. Gold is so aesthetically pleasing to me. I think it looks lovely. I would also say any kind of deep red is something I'm a big fan of. Maroon, garnet, any of that. Crimson, they all look great. So deep red or gold, and I actually think they look really great together. Mr. Average. Mr. Average. Congrats. My question is gonna hit deep, but what's your biggest regret in life? All right, we'll get real with it. We'll get real. I have no pretense here, and I'm almost scared to say it for numerous reasons that I don't want to get into because I'm not going to go through the whole roundabout nature of how my brain works because it's stupid and probably nonsensical. I remember, so I'm single right now, but I'd like to be in a relationship. I think relationships are good for you, right? And I remember one time I was talking to this girl and the vibes weren't really there. They just really weren't. I would later go on to find out that she was talking to another guy at the same time, and that's, you know, she broke it off with me, so I guess I was the fool, right? But the regret is that this other girl, beautiful, kind, wonderful, she asked me on a date not knowing that I was talking to this other girl, and I told her, I said, sorry, I'm currently talking to somebody, and you know, I just look back on that. Now this other girl has gone on to get married, she's living her best life, all that, and sometimes I just think about it. I think about, like, what could have been. Maybe nothing, by the way. Maybe we wouldn't have been compatible. But I look back on it. We're still friends to this day. That's why I'm hesitant to mention, I don't think she'd ever watch this video. In the very least, I don't think she'd get an hour, 20 minutes into it, whatever. But, you know, yeah, that's a huge regret. When you look back and you're like, was this a missed opportunity? Because all I've ever wanted is to, like, have a family and all that. So I don't know. That's a big regret. But, you know, I have a lot of regrets. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've been a very stupid person who has squandered a lot of very awesome opportunities. Not just romantically, professionally, educationally, socially. You know, at this point, I'm just trying to be a guy that, you know, others can look at and they can learn from. As sad as that may sound. So yeah, I hope that's real enough for you. PMAC is a very active member of the Discord, very active member in the Twitch chats. PMAC, my friend, how are ya? What inspired you to do YouTube and how did you start? So, I've mentioned this a few times. So what I'll do, instead of going through the whole inspiration part of it again, how did I start? I started by editing on DaVinci Resolve, which is free and lovely if you're looking to get into it. And I made a video called Is Spirit Broken? Or Is Spirit Overpowered? And it's a terrible video. It's a bad video. And it's still up on this channel today. So go, watch it, laugh at it, have fun with it. I just, it's not the greatest thing you're ever gonna watch, but luckily it might be the worst. So that's how I started. Do you prefer the hot sunny days of summer where you can crack open a cold one, or kick back on a cold winter day wrapped up inside with hot chocolate and all the good things for when it's cold out? Also, congrats. King Jim, good question. Very good question. Asking the important question. So, summer has two uses: fishing and going to the beach. That's it. Winter is far superior, and I prefer it in every other way. Yes, you miss out on being able to go to the beach, but hey, guess what? We are in late July, and I haven't been to the beach this year. Even though I live in Mississippi, so the beach is never more than like 4 hours away. So that's sad. I guess maybe pools. I've gone in the pool. I don't have a pool. I've gone to people who have pools like twice this year. So, you know, pools are all right. Not the beach. They're not as cool as the beach. And then fishing, I actually haven't been fishing yet this year either. Just because it's been obscenely hot, even by Mississippi summer standards. And I've been a weenie, and I haven't done it. So I greatly prefer the cold. Let me get a fireplace going. You know, let me just sit back. Whether it is hot cocoa or like a nice whiskey and a stogie, you know, just watch the fire. Also, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to appreciate Christmas music, which is making me realize, yep, I'm getting old. Even though more than anything, I just want to put on country, which again, I used to hate country, but I love it now, so I don't know what's happening to me. But winter's the best. All right, Patches Gaming. If Dead by Daylight was going to get a sequel, how would you want to be made and why? I don't want a sequel because I think it would risk killing the game, kind of similar to what Overwatch 2 did. But if they were to take some time off or set aside a portion of the team and work on recoding the game in a whole separate one that's like free to play or something, I don't know, where all of our, you know, everything we've done is ported over and all that, and they want to call it DBD 2 or DBD Reforged, or yeah, I think that was Warcraft. If they want to do something like that, I could generally get on board with it so that the game doesn't break every time something new is introduced, but generally I'm not a fan of the sequel idea. All right, hold up. Okay, we're almost there. We've almost made it. We've almost made it. I've been talking for an hour and a half. In DBD, who do you think the next licensed killer is realistically? I'm hoping for it to be Alien, but I'm down with Jason as well. Alien and Jason are both entirely realistic. I think it's Candyman, but I do think the Alien Day leaks actually had some fire to that smoke. I think it will happen probably this year, but we'll have to see. And then for the people that are still saying, oh, Jason's just not going to happen, that's living in the past. Jason will happen. I'm very confident. Jason will happen. Probably not too soon, though. All right, Flaughter Flow. How closely do you follow other creators to keep up with what topics are in demand and what videos haven't been made yet? I used to be better about that. I used to be a lot better. So, there are creators I keep up with. I would say I watch every Mint Skull video. I would say I watch every Asimov's video. I watch Tatario's streams fairly frequently. I've started watching Aranad because I'm amazed by his clown gameplay. Otts, I watch frequently. Yerv, I'll tune into some streams. Yerv's great. But compared to what I used to do, I'm going to be honest, and I am not naming names. I don't like where the DBD community is right now. I'm seeing a lot of drama, a lot of infighting, a lot of really nasty arguments instead of healthy debates. So things like the Things like the whole thing about DCing. The way that people have kind of addressed this DCing thing with, again, the whole like, if I'm not having fun, I'm just going to ditch the game. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care if you are having fun. Like, there's so much nastiness that at this point I've kind of checked out a little bit from the community in a larger sense of the word. You know, I'm a bit of an island at this point. There are some really high quality people that are making some really high quality content, but the answer to your question is I do not keep up that closely. Should I? Probably. But currently, I don't. Captain 222 Slap. This is Azradane, who has just been a dear friend, not only of the channel, but I know Azradane in real life. Not that we've met in person, just we game together and all that. Azradane's a great guy. So, here's my question. If you were given 1 million, but you couldn't spend any of it on yourself and only for others, how would you spend it? Congrats on the milestone, plus more C shapes. That's an inside joke. Very funny. I'd love to explain it at some point. Okay, $1 million, can't spend it on myself. And I'm going to say, like, okay, I don't know if this counts as spending it on myself, but like my dad has been busting his ass in a job that he does not like for as long as I can remember. I would love to take like 200K of that and just say like, okay, Dad, I'm not saying you have to retire, but take a break. Here's 200K. Go vacation. Go see Italy. Go to Vietnam. You and Mom just go somewhere. And when you come back, spend the rest of that 200K, you know. I would love to do that. That'd be fantastic. I would love to... We have a couple of charities in my area that are specifically based around targeting things like poverty, because obviously Mississippi has a ton of poverty. I would love to give to that. I would obviously tithe to my church, because that's just a big part of my life. I would love to keep some of it on hand. And when something comes up where somebody says, oh man, my car just broke down. If I had $1 million, or even, I think now I'm down to like 400K or something. I have like 400K sitting around that I can't spend on myself, especially because that takes any risk of being selfish out of the equation. Do you know how cool it would be to just say, hey, here's 80K, go get yourself an awesome car. That'd be great. So that's my answer. I don't know that'd be the general answer there, even though I know I'm not fully answering it. I don't know. I'd like to think I could put it to good use helping others. All right, Nerks. My only question is, what's your favorite Evil Dead movie or season/episode of the show? Favorite movie far and away is Evil Dead 2. Loved it. It's great. The first one, the art house feel of it gives it so much charm. The third one is hilarious. And I actually like both of the modern ones as well. As for the actual show, I love the episode where, spoilers, by the way, Ash vs. Evil Dead, Ash links up with his dad, and it's almost this buddy comedy the whole time, and then his dad dies at the end, because, you know, the running joke that everyone Ash is around dies. Really funny, really good stuff. I like the show. It's grown on me a lot. But yeah, Evil Dead 2 is my favorite. All right, final question from Dilophosaurus1434. Great dinosaur, by the way. Fantastic. Is it the Spinosaurus? No. But is it cool? Yes. Do you plan on bringing any other content into your channel besides DBD? Also, congratulations on reaching 15K. Yes, I do. I would love to. It would be incredibly cool. It'd be incredibly cool to get that opportunity. I would be extremely happy to do non-DBD content in addition. I'm not looking at doing a swap over where it's like, oh, he no longer does DBD. But I would like to be able to mix it up some. Will that happen? No. No, probably not, but it's something I would like to do. So if anybody's watching this and you have an idea, you're like, oh, here's a video I would like to see from you, Food. It's related to horror films, or flags, or sports, or wrestling, or whatever. Anything but politics. Because, guys, if you're taking political advice from me, you've already lost, right? Anything but that. I'd be happy to make a video on it. But that's going to do it for me. If you enjoyed this, please leave it a like. But you know, you're here over an hour and a half later. I hope you had a good time. Guys, thank you so much for 15K. 15,000 foodies. It's crazy. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for putting up with this terribly photoshopped Steve Carell as the clown from DBD. I didn't even give him the white face paint. I should have. Thank you. Thank you. You guys you've just meant so much to me, and I appreciate it. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are. I say it all the time, but I mean it. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope that getting this video makes your day even better. Take care of yourselves. Here's to many more memories, guys. Thank you so much. Until next time, I've been Das Food. Bye, friends.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my